What's up, everyone? Thank y'all for joining me on Buzzing with Marlowe, live, and I'll say it again, live. We are literally 2 weeks away till the big daddy of them all, Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's had a great week, great day, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's Friday. Friday. A little bit about what's going on. Got new merch. Y'all see these nice little beautiful things right here, Buzzing with Marlowe. Check it out on Bonfire, the link below. Um, I'm gonna also do a nice little discount. You do the promo code Buzz20, you get 10% off. I mean, can't go wrong. Christmas coming up, you can have some nice little Buzzing with Marlowe merch. We got hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops. Ladies, I know you love the Razorback tank top looks for gym or just to wear around. Those are also out there, and we got pink as well. So guys, check them out. A lot of good things going on, guys. Also check, if you aren't subscribed to us, subscribe to our new YouTube channel, Buzzing with Marlowe. I mean, so far we're picking it up, guys. That it's slowly picking up. I finally got this YouTube thing all set up, finally figuring everything out. Also, y'all watching us up on Facebook Live. There's also a Facebook page of the real Buzzing with Marlowe. There is a fake one out there, so watch out. If you see the one with this logo right here, that is the right website. But guys, I mean, it's crazy. Christmas is almost here. I'm so excited. Guys, I know we've been going through so much for the past year and a half, and it just feels like everything's starting to come back together again. It's just super a great blessing. Guys, today's guest, I'm so excited. We're going back into it. If you haven't checked out my episode with the commission, we are blowing it up each and every week. My boy Shiz Lansky off the Top Ropes podcast and Dre on Wheels from the 1130 podcast. We are up there killing it, talking about wrestling, doing some metaphor about Disney. We're just having a great time. Guys, most importantly today, guys, I'm excited about my episode today because I am joined with my good friend, welcome again. He's coming back, guys. Donnie Harris. That's right, guys. CCW's own commentator, ringside pitch man, Donnie Harris Jr. So much to talk about Donnie. I mean, I met him literally when I was walking out of CCW, and I mean, we've kept connect real for a while now, and it's just a great chats, great times that we have. So I'm looking so forward to talking to him today. We're going to talk about his up and coming projects that he's got with CCW. We're going to talk about the upcoming projects he has with the Jacksonville Giants. That's right, guys. He is an announcer for the Jacksonville Giants. Season's just started back, and he's going to be on those live home games, guys. You're going to hear this man. I mean, a man can kill it on the mic. Man is amazing on the mic. One gifted talent, one awesome announcer. I'm looking so forward to it, guys. So when we come back, the countdown's going from 30 to 1. We will be joined with Donnie Harris Jr., ladies and gentlemen, and that starts now. All right. I am joined with the one and only. Welcome back, man. Donnie Harris. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How you doing, Marlo?
I'm doing good, man. It's Friday. Christmas is almost here. Whew, man, can you believe it's almost here now?
Oh, oh yeah, man. Got a big Christmas list. But one of the good things about being an adult is you don't have to worry about, oh, are my parents gonna get it? Or was I get enough boys? Like you can just go order it on Amazon yourself because you have disposable income now that you're an adult. But yeah, man, I'm really glad the Christmas season is here.
Oh yeah, man. Last time we talked, you were having a lot of big goals coming up, and obviously COVID just finally rose up. We're finally getting live shows again, man. Talk about it. How's that been, being able to be in front of crowds and stuff like that again?
Man, it was COVID. It hit everybody bad. For me, it really stunk because it really felt like I had some momentum going, but I like to think that as 2021 closes, at least I've gained the momentum back. As you said, this basketball season, I'll be with the Jacksonville Giants as their PA announcer for all their home games, and I'm really looking forward to that. Also, going to continue my relationship with several of the wrestling promotions that I worked for in 2022. Just got a lot on the table, man. Doing color commentary now, that's a new thing for me, and it's been a learning curve, but it's a lot of fun because I've kind of mastered ring announcing, or at least I think so, to a degree. There's always more to learn, but now I have this other thing that I do with CCW, and that being a color commentator, and it's a whole new learning process, and I love that, man. When it's something I'm interested in, when it's something I like, I want to learn everything I can about it. So it's like I have something else to look forward to in addition to my duties as a ring announcer when I go to a CCW show. Because I know as soon as I get the introductions done, I sit down by my partner, Jimmy Rosendorf, an excellent play-by-play guy, and we call the matches.
That's awesome, man. Talk about what's some of the differences that you had experienced, obviously coming from the announcing standpoint to going into color commentary. Like, what are some of the differences that you've seen so far?
With my limited experience, you need to know more of the backstory. You need to know facts. Most of the time when you come in as a ring announcer, you write your cards, any sponsors and all that. You get in, you introduce the wrestlers, you get out, you get back in. I mean, there is a repetitiveness to the job that you kind of get used to, and you just kind of get better at that. With being a color commentator, you need to buy a notebook and write down a lot of facts, because at some point during the match, it's my job to inform the audience of why are these two guys fighting? What's the history here? So you really need to be informed about that. So it's kind of like studying for a test in a way.
I agree with you on that. I like how you brought that in perspective like that. That's pretty neat, because obviously, like, when we go to these WWE events, we don't get to hear the announcers. We don't get to hear the play-by-play stuff. Like, I remember when I think my first wrestling show I went to was as a house show. They didn't have announcers and stuff like that. So when we got to go to a live SmackDown, I was like, oh man, Michael Cole, Taz, all these guys, and you just saw them, and you're like, you can't hear them. Like, what's going on? Like, they're talking, but you can't hear what they're saying. So and then when you watch the TV, you can just tell, like, oh, they're a big reason of why TV wrestling is so popular, because obviously if you're just watching it, it's a lot different than you hearing the commentating and stuff like that. It makes it feel like a real sports event in ways. Like,
yeah, and in my way, I like it because I grew up on Jim Ross, Joey Styles, Joel Gertner, Jerry the King Lawler. Those guys were my heroes, and in my own small way, it's like I'm taking things.
You were a big ECW fan, right?
Yes, I caught ECW on the tail end, like 99 through 2000. So I missed all the good stuff. But there's no way my parents would have let me watch it prior to that, because I was just too young. I was really too young even then to be watching it. But mom and dad showed leniency on certain things. So even though I only watched it for about a year, it really left a lasting impression on me. Joey Styles and Joel Gertner to this day are two of my favorite commentators. Just, you had Joey Styles, who's all prim and proper, and he's giving the introduction. Okay. And then Joel Gertner goes in and, well, it is I, the such and such, quintessential stud muffin, Joel Gertner. And I lived for that. And Jerry Lawler saying stuff.
It gave it a different perspective.
Yeah. Jerry the King Lawler, just the stuff he would say. Oh my God, I cannot repeat half of it here. Look the stuff up on YouTube.
Puppies.
Yeah.
He gave a different terminology to puppies. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Just the stuff with him.
Oh wait, my leg's stuck on this cord. I can't get to him in time. I mean,
That
obviously,
was my favorite Jerry the King Lawler. Like his heel, like when we see in the ring, you see a baby face and a bad guy. But when you saw Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross on the commentary booth, you could still see like a heel and a good guy perspective in a commentating standpoint. You don't see that much in wrestling anymore. Now it's mostly just everybody agrees to it. They watch the play by play. You might see a little bit with Corey Graves or something like that, but you don't see like how real it was with Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. That's why two of those guys really stand out more than anyone, just because of the mindset they was. And I love Jerry the King Lawler when he was just kiss ass for Vince. Oh my gosh, you just
yeah,
make him even more mad. Like it was just like, gosh, man, you're like, why don't you just go over and rub Vince's shoulders or something? And when JR would sit there and go, oh, why don't you go give him a pedicure, King, or something like that, it was just so freaking hilarious how they just went bantering back and forth.
yeah. I mean, they were as much stars,
So what are
or they were as much stars of the show as the regular wrestlers
mm-hmm.
were. But what were you asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't see that. You don't see commentators really at that standout moment like how it used to be. Like, oh my gosh, man. I think is a big missing in some wrestling sometimes. It's just like just give them the thing and just make the fans believe in the product. And that's one thing I think any sport needs. You just need to believe in the product. When you could see people that are really enthused and getting into it, and I could tell with you, I knew for a fact when you were doing college commentary, I knew it was going to be a challenge for you at first, but you are already invested into the product. And you put a lot of energy, and I saw some of the commentating that you did, and I'm just like, okay, he's getting into this. And like I can start seeing that you're starting to pick up a little bit on it. Like when you started showing your reactions and stuff, you could even tell, even while you're watching the match, and you could just hear your words. I can just tell you're probably throwing your hands, waving or something because you're showing that emotion when you're talking about it. It's just not like a robot sitting like, okay, arm drag, sleeper hold, fans are picking it up again. Robotic
Yeah,
mode.
I mean, I love this business. I'm excited anytime I get to do it. I told you, I'd made mention last time that we talked, you have that love for it. And, I do everything I can to make sure that flame's always burning. And, it's got added fuel because I have this new avenue that I'm pursuing. And I mean, it's great. And, obviously big tips to Jimmy, who's great at the play-by-play because I've been in this business for 3 years and I've been a fan for I don't know how long. And I can go ahead and tell you, I can't remember half the names of the dang moves. So Jimmy does a good job of taking care of that part of it. And I can tell I get to tell the fans, why are these two guys beating the crap out of each other? I know, like a lot of people. I said like one comment one time, and a lot of people they've said like, oh, we like it. That used to be your catchphrase. I said somebody was beating somebody like he brought home a D on his report card. And for whatever reason, the people really liked that phrase. So that was kind of cool.
If you get a sign like that, man, that's your trademark.
Yeah, maybe. But
you get a sign out there, you made it. You made it.
Yeah. And, right now at CCW.
What's that?
Or right now at CCW, we're having a tournament to crown our first ever television Collect the Bounty champion. Every week on our episode, we're showing another one of the tournament matches to crown our first ever television Collect the Bounty championship. It's a title with a unique concept in that every time you defend it, $1,000 is added into a cash box. More times you defend it, more money gets put in. At any point during your reign, might have lost him. Hold on, folks. He might be coming back, might not.
All right, we're back.
All right. Oh, there you are, man. I was afraid I'd lost you.
That's the best thing about editing.
Right.
You're good.
But no, what I was saying, with the TV Collect the Bounty Championship, every time you defend it, you get $1,000 put into a championship lockbox. More times you defend it, more money goes in the box. And at any point during your reign, you can relinquish the title and collect your money. But if you lose the title, not only do you lose the championship belt, but all the money you've accumulated will go to the new champion, hence the name Collect the Bounty Television Championship. And I think it's a concept that it's probably been used somewhere else similar, but it hasn't been used a lot. So, we're real excited about crowning our first champion. And, it just stresses, every belt in your organization should have some type of importance, whether it's the world title or your secondary titles.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with you on that. And then one thing I remember, and one thing I'll shout out for Chris from CCW, one thing he taught me was a title doesn't make a wrestler. A wrestler makes the title. And regardless if it's the heavyweight title or like what we call the secondary title, with me being a former alternative champion for 2 years, that was a secondary title. But the way I carried it, you thought of it as like a main title, like one of the titles that mattered and stuff like that. It's just based off of how you carry that belt. And I'm excited to see how this Collect the Bounty thing is, because it's a big deal, because there's been a long time since a newer championship has been in Continental Championship Wrestling and stuff like that. And just seeing that has been able to build up and stuff like that, that's a pretty cool incentive, I think, man. I mean, you're putting money into it. I mean, we don't do this stuff for free. So,
No.
like, when you putting in a nice little payroll in there, that thing keeps adding up, man. That's a good payroll for, if you ask me. That's a heck of an incentive. Like, hey, not only did I get to win a championship, but hey, I get a nice little pay raise also. Like, yeah, you never know. Like,
yeah, I mean, we try to,
especially
me and Jimmy, whether we're hosting the show or in commentary, we always try to stress the importance of all our titles. Obviously, the World Championship currently at this recording is being held by Darian Drummond, and he's the guy in CCW. He's the guy to beat. Right behind him is our Southern States title, and that's being held at this time at this recording by the Machine Bryce Maddox. And we really stress the importance of that secondary title, because it's real simple. If you hold on to the Southern States title for a few months, get some good defenses, pretty soon you'll get a shot at the world champion.
Be a build-up.
Yeah. It's the same back in the old days of the NWA. Whoever held the United States Championship was considered the number one contender to the world champion.
Yep. I agree with you on that. Also, I want to do a shout out to my boy Darian Drummond. I mean, we go way back. Just to see everything that he has accomplished in that business and stuff like that is just a beautiful thing. I remember the first Stampede y'all got back, crowd-wise. I actually made an appearance. I got to witness Drummond winning his very first title. So that was such a beautiful thing, and awesome to see that he's carried this thing so high, and just amazing what he's doing with it. I literally have said it numerous times. Drummond was going to be a guy that put eyes on a product regardless of where he was or what he did. So major shout out to him on that. But you just mentioned that you sit here and y'all talk about every champion. That is the big thing to do. Like, honestly, I remember with Continental Championship Wrestling, we've only really had 3 titles. Maybe 4 when I started getting in there and we started seeing that we could have an alternative division. But we only had 3. We had the heavyweight, the tag titles, and the Southern States. Those were like the only 3 that you really could ever get in Continental Championship Wrestling. Then me, less fortunate, and a good Skylark and a good number of guys, we brought the alternative championship back just to get more of a raise and try to figure out something new. And every title had something different incentive-wise. Like the alternative title, it was you wrestled any type of match. It wasn't a regular match. You wrestled any type of special secondary match. Southern States title, you're going to, I meant this, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's Southern States. That's right. You wrestled that basically for a distance. Like you're going to be that's the workman's title in ways. And then the heavyweight title, that's just the big daddy. You want that title. Like that's just the main thing that you've always wanted. It's held by, I remember the time I was there, the Outlaw Jamie McKinnon, Chris Turner himself. I mean, Landon Cruz just they put 3 numbers in. Toxic or Cecil Andrews now. I think he's changed his name again.
Yep.
He's held that title now. Now my boy Darian Drummond's gotten it twice. So it's just these are huge achievements in CCW. Like there's some stuff that I'd never even got. So it's just really good to see guys that I've been around when I first started and stuff and actually had trained, and now to see where it's going now is just a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, and you bring up a good point. Any good company is going to make every championship mean something, and AEW has really given smaller promotions a good blueprint. I mean, winning the TNT championship is a major accomplishment. You win that belt, on TNT. And, it tells everybody that watches AEW, okay, this guy's got something. He's good. He's not world champion yet, but there's something there. And, it's kind of that first pathway onto the world championship. I mean, if you want another example, look at football, specifically the SEC. One of the most sought after things on every team in the SEC's roster is to win the SEC championship. I mean, you could argue it's more coveted in our conference than the national title because, how powerful the SEC is. But, a lot of people that win, or a lot of teams that win the SEC championship go on to win the national championship. But it all starts with that secondary title being the SEC championship. And, I think it's just a good blueprint for every type of promotion that has any type of, competition to follow. Your world championships, your national titles, the big title of your company is always important, but that secondary title is still important too because it's kind of that first step to going on. Going on to bigger things. And in some ways, on a personal level, it becomes more important because it's your first one. It's that first thing that you've ever been able to hold on to and go, oh man, this is mine. By the time you get to the national championship or world championship, it's still important, but that first title that you won, whether it represents,
it makes you hungrier.
It makes you hungry. And sometimes, it's a good way to reignite the fire. If, you've been to the top and you've kind of levied off and you want to get back there, boom, you win that secondary title again, you're back on the hunt.
Yeah. And it makes it where you don't get stale. And it always pushes you to get better. And like how you just said, your first title, I remember when I won my first belt, man, that was awesome. Like I treated it like that was like the heavyweight title. Like everywhere I went, I sat here and pronounced myself as the champ, the guy with the belt, like Mr. Red, White, and Blue, also your alternative champion. Like I would throw those little things to make that meaning more. And I remember when I had that time, the guys were sitting there talking about, hey man, this alternative title has got more publicity than the Southern States title. Like just more publicity because I would sit here and promote it nonstop. Like it's just a matter of what you do with the belt. And the secondary belts are big achievements. Big achievements. It's literally showing that, hey, the brand they got trust in you moving the train. Like honestly, that's a big accomplishment because we have so many wrestling promotions around the world, and honestly, a lot of them pick exactly who they want as a champ. So when you get that chance and that opportunity, you take it. Like you take every bit of that and you go as far as you can with that belt. And you literally try to make that belt stand out. You try to make that belt go anywhere and expand it up. And those are big things. And I definitely like the fact that y'all brought a new title in because now it brings a different look into what's going on in the championship realm. And it helps the guys in the back to fight for something now because now it's something new, fresh. And they're like, hey, I can be that first champ. Like just new little things and hype themselves up to get them more excited about continuing on.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point. When it comes to secondary titles, your world championship is, that's your top title. But, some people say, well, why is the secondary title important? Why do I not just go on for the world championship. And, I think that's a problem that we're trying to address in CCW. I'm the Southern States title. Why do I want to go for it? Why do I want to challenge for that? Well, it's real simple. It is like I said earlier. You win the title, you hold it for a few months, you get that shot at the world title. Why is our TV Collect the Bounty Championship important? Well, it can give you a big payday. Another promotion that I think does it really well that I work for is the Coastal Wrestling Federation, CWF. Over there, our secondary title is called the Breakout Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a championship that was designed only for wrestlers that have been in the business under 5 years. It's a chance for young and hungry guys to fight for something, win that title, and in essence, break out. It's currently being held by Van Christopher, Division I Van Christopher, who's in his first reign, and he is killing it in the CWF as the first ever breakout champion. And, he's really laying a precedent for future, for all the future champions. But, I just loved the concept on it in that, why is it important? Well, it's something to highlight the young and hungry wrestlers that come to the CWF. The veterans will fight for the world championship, and you might have a few of the younger guys.
You got a newer, fresh blood. You got a new, fresh breed of champs. Like it's something. It's something for everyone.
Yeah. And wrestling fans love new. They love bright. They love new things. And the Breakout Championship, at least in the CWF, highlights the new kid on the block. That really is something. And currently held by Division, like I said, a guy named by the name of Division I Van Christopher. And like I said, he is tearing it up there in the CWF. So just a little shout out to them and the creative minds that came up with that title.
I love it. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And also it helps you if you try to sell merch, it helps you get that merch sold out a little bit more, because then it's like, hey man, this man's a champ. So this guy's not somebody to mess around with. This guy is literally legit for him having a champ. That's how fans prospectively see stuff. Like they see it as, oh man, that's a champion. Like we got to get his stuff. Like he's got the belt. Like this is something we want to see him more. We want to buy more merch of him. Like these are just those little things in wrestling that help somebody expand out, makes them bigger. It's like a resume, guys. Like it's based off of how much you get out of all the knowledge and all the stuff that you've had in professional wrestling.
Yeah, and I mean,
all right. So Donnie, I want to talk about.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I couldn't hear what you said for a second. What did you say?
There's a little bit of lag here. I'm in the swamp. I'm in the swamps of the Sunshine State, so the internet doesn't always come through. But no, man, go ahead.
All right. So last time we talked, you said you had a big thing you were trying to mark off your bucket list. I think probably not recent, probably like 2 months ago. Did you finally get to put that check mark under the bucket list of you being able to commentate a boxing match or a UFC type fight?
Yeah, or what? Not commentator, but I'd always wanted to get involved with mixed martial arts in some way, shape, or form. And the Shadow Fight Club, or Shadow FC, is an amateur MMA promotion down in the Villages, and they needed a ring announcer for one of their shows, and they called me up, and I was able to go down and do my first MMA event, and it was great. I loved it. There's a different energy in the air than a wrestling show, which I love wrestling, but we go back to that word new. It was something new and exciting that I'd never done before. And as far as I know, the promoter really liked my job, and I'll be working with them again soon, probably in the new year. I don't think they're running in December, but which is fine with me because I've got my hands full announcing for the Giants, and also I do PA announcing for well, you can't really see it here, but Florida Gateway College, their basketball team. So basketball takes up a lot of my winter months.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you still do the college? You're still commentating for college for Florida Gulf, and then also still doing the Jacksonville Giants. That's a busy man, man. That's a lot of knowledge of basketball too, man. Because I remember my times with basketball. Oh man, I can only imagine with like an announcing standpoint, you got to remember stats, rebounds, steals, points, everything. So, oh my gosh, you a busy, busy man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as
You
a
just got
PA
it in
announcer,
categories on calendar. Go hey,
yeah.
basketball, wrestling.
Um, I'm a PA announcer for the basketball teams. It's a little bit easier. It's a similar role to being a ring announcer. I introduce the teams. I keep the crowd informed of any violations
Mm-hmm.
that happen throughout the game. But yeah, I mean it's a sport. I never really thought that. I mean, I always knew it existed, but I never really watched it much. But Florida Gateway College took a chance on me, and now I'm in my fourth season with them. And from there, I gained the experience to now be working for the Jacksonville
Mm-hmm.
Giants. Their first my first full season with them. I filled in some last season. It's great. It's new opportunities, and you got to pursue those when you can. I mean, is it a little outside my comfort zone? Yeah. I mean, when I started making money with my voice, my goal was to be a ring announcer, to do wrestling shows. But
Mm-hmm.
I stepped outside that comfort zone, and I've done okay with it. Oh, lost him again.
All right, go ahead.
There you are, man. Thought I'd lost you again.
Oh man, that boonies killing your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta stand on the roof and point your phone second star to the right to get a signal.
Hey man, that's one good thing about the pre-recording. I could edit and all that, so it's all good. All right, go back and talk about the Jacksonville Giants thing.
Oh yeah, no, it was like I was saying. I when I started making money with my voice, I'd never expected to do anything other than wrestling, but the opportunity presented itself while I was training to work for the college, and I took it. I really wasn't prepared that well, but I've been 4 seasons with Florida Gateway College, so I must be doing something they like, and now I'm working for the Giants. I got to fill in a few times last
Mm-hmm.
season. I'm going to be their PA announcer this season, as far as I know. I stepped outside my comfort zone. I took a chance, and it's paying dividends. I'm really excited about this season with both teams.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty neat. That, like how you got to commentate still for college and stuff. And honestly, that's like a major like up in the like ante type scenario. So say like you're getting to commentate for the minor leagues, basically almost before they go in the NBA and something like the D League. So that's something pretty really cool to see. Like, what are some differentiate stuff that you've witnessed, obviously from commentating from college level to going to the ABA, talking to the Jacksonville Giants? Like, what are some of the differences that you've withstand or encountered when it goes to commentating both products?
That's a good question. Um, I mean, it's much faster paced in basketball because I'm sitting at the desk, and I have the things I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to say, and the producer, I believe that's the term, is when they pause because there's a foul or it's an end of a half. They'll say go to media, and then they go to me, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have to plug the sponsors. Like, remember, folks, no one out pizzas the hut. Be sure to grab a pizza on your way out the door, or just something like that. So the pacing is much quicker, but at the same time, there's a little bit more structure. The world of pro wrestling, as you very well know, can be very, very chaotic. You don't have that map and that GPS about where you're going all the time versus when I go into when I go to a basketball game, I kind of know all the points and where they're going to be, so I don't have to expect the unexpected. So there's a bit more structure in a basketball game,
Mm-hmm.
especially with an ABA team like the Jacksonville Giants. First, you're going into a pro wrestling show, which is just organized chaos. And I love both. I mean, I love that organized chaos pro wrestling, and I love the structure that comes with being a PA announcer in an ABA game.
Mm-hmm. So how's it to like when you see like venue wise, like you're getting to commentate the Jacksonville Giants? They play at the Memorial Arenas, right?
They used to with COVID. They've moved to Christ is King High School. I believe that's the term. I believe that's the name. Please forgive me
Okay,
if I'm
yeah.
getting it wrong. But I mean, it's a wonderful venue. Um, like I said, for me, it's similar. I'm used to going into high school gyms. A lot of promotions I work for run out of high school gyms, so there was a bit of similarity there, but that's kind of where it ends because like I said, everybody's at their stations and there's really a crunch on the clock to get things done. And the ABA versus you got a little bit more time,
Mm-hmm.
when you're dealing with a wrestling show. That's the biggest difference that I've
Yeah. I
recognized.
mean, it's crunch time. Basketball, hey, that's a different mentality and that's a different outlook on when it goes to show performance wise and stuff like that. And I forgot, yeah, with COVID and stuff. I mean, shout out to the new ABA team. It's called the Nassau Pride. They play out in Yulee High School. It's really cool now. As long as it's been, we had so much talent in Nassau County. Now that they actually have an ABA team representing Nassau County is a big deal. I mean, just from the little town that we have had, just a little area that we have, just for now to have its own ABA team is pretty cool. And I think they actually gave the Jacksonville Giants a couple of games.
Yeah, I think they may have played. They may have crossed paths a time or two. I only did 3 games with the Giants last year. I was filling in for the other guys, so um, oh goodness, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
They might. I'm pretty sure they'll be on the schedule for this season though. So I'm definitely looking forward to that game.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's a little town, man. It's really cool that we're finally getting a team to represent out here because it's been a lot of talent for the longest time, and it's just like all you knew was the Jacksonville Giants. Like, there's a lot of ABA teams out there, and you just don't know of them that much just because you only got that one trademark name. Kind of like wrestling, like now it's not like oh we got WWE anymore. We got AEW. Impact is finally stepping back up. Uh, MLW is coming up out of the works. Like, oh my gosh, like that thing is rising up now. I mean, it's just amazing to see all in general, wrestling is getting better. Like, obviously, with COVID and stuff, everybody was a little hesitant, like, hey, we're wrestling in front of nobody, like, no crowds. Like, this is basically training sessions with our gear. Like, this has got to be outrageously crazy. Like, wrestling, my mindset when it came to wrestling, me being American Prodigy, you were living off the crowd's reactions. Their energy was what built you up to keep going, keep doing the bumps, keep doing that. So with you being in a no crowd show, I know that had to be super crazy. So obviously now with the fans back in, I think it actually revamped wrestling because wrestling is what was the only thing you really could watch on TV that wasn't really pre-done. Like when I say pre-done, like obviously stuff that was 2 years ago on TV and stuff like it was what was in front of you instantly. So I think wrestling doing that, it's built the community so much more now. So it's just really cool to see like everything starting to come back together. Obviously, your gigs now it just makes you even more busier than you were, but it's good to see everything is starting to basically say, you know what, the hell with COVID, let's get back to what we know what to do. Like let's get back to being normal. Let's go back to being what we've all built up to be because people don't realize how much we need these entertainment type standpoints basketball, football, baseball, hockey, whatever because you need something to escape from your 9 to 5 all week or your weekends or whatever. You need that one night to escape for 2 hours and going to these events. It helps. It really does. It helps somebody. We talk about health, mental health and stuff like that. I think sometimes it's a cure for these standpoints because it goes many different ways, like many different ways. So it's just really cool to see everything growing that what's doing. Um, Donnie, talk about what are some future products that you got going on. Some of the stuff that you got from wrestling standpoint, from basketball. Now you doing MMA and stuff like that. What are the differences between all of these that makes you get more excited for each type of time that you're going to go to these events to do more commentating stuff? What makes you keep more excited about
I mean, for wrestling, it's hard to put in words. It's just something that always been there. If you're a wrestling fan, you get it. If you don't, if you're outside this wrestling business, it's hard to describe that feeling. The best way I can describe it, you asked me the differences. For wrestling, it's just that pull, that man, I can't wait to get out there to put on the flashy jacket, to welcome the crowd, to introduce the wrestlers. For the teams, for basketball, it's a little different. For me, it's like, especially when I do FGC, there's an emotional investment there because I went to that college. I now work for that college, so that team is in a way representing me. When I
it?
announce when I announce a wrestling match, I mean, I don't have a I don't have an emotional investment in either of the competitors. I'm just happy to be there. But when I'm there introducing the starting lineup for the FGC Timberwolves, that's my team. They represent my school that I graduated from and that I now work for. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of put that restraint. But for me, it's just like, oh man, I got to see him win. Same thing goes for the Giants. As far as MMA goes, I mean, I've only got one event under my belt so far, but for me, it's so new. It's really hard to put in words, but the best way I can describe it is you just don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how the wrestlers are going to, or you don't know, sorry, you don't know how the fighters are going to go in the ring because you hear them talking with their coaches, you hear them talking to each other, you hear them going over the strategies. This is just all based on the one event I've been to so far, but you don't know what's going to happen once that cage door closes and those two competitors go at it. So that's what's kind of hooked me in to the world of MMA, and knowing that I get to be a part of that in a small way, and I don't have to worry about my face getting punched in.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. Isn't it crazy to see like how like when we go to these wrestling shows and you see guys obviously going in the back, going over their match and stuff like that. When you go to these MMA fights, it's not that way. It's like, oh, I'm gonna try to grapple him, try to get in the leg, and try to hold him, whatever. It's not, hey, we're gonna do this, do a hip toss and stuff like this. No, it's we're gonna go in there. I gotta win. Like I'm gonna try to pin you to win. Like either tap out or something. I'm pinning you to win. So like, how different is that for you in that type of standpoint? Because obviously, I mean, what we want to say, wrestling is fake. I mean, it does a lot to your damn body. So in my opinion, I don't see if it is fake, you can't get hurt. In my
Yeah.
opinion, that's how I've always seen it. If it's fake, it shouldn't hurt. So
Well, since we're
obviously,
breaking,
it's
yeah,
just a newer version of wrestling. That now,
yeah. Well, since
go
we're
ahead.
breaking kayfabe at this point, um, I mean, you go in and what's, with wrestling, you kind of sometimes, I know what's going to happen. I know how the match is going to go. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do, but with MMA and the same with basketball games, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I remember the
Mm-hmm.
first match on the card that I did for Shadow FC. It kind of felt like I kind of had the same rhythm. I get in, introduce the competitors, and step out. But I remember as I turned around and I saw the two guys, going at it, and they exchanged punches. Then it like truly dawned on me, like, oh shit, yeah, this is for real. They are really going to hurt each other. Versus versus the more cooperative aspect of that is pro wrestling. And the same with basketball. You have, these teams are really trying to beat each other. There is no cooperation. They're trying to get the highest score by the end of the time period to go home with that W. So the
Mm-hmm.
unexpected, the unknown, that is what I love about these two other sports.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome to see it. You really are adapting to so many different levels. Like you gone from from basketball to now doing ABA, and now you actually have checked that goal that you were talking about last time. Now getting to commentate your MMA game ordeal. So it's like really cool just to see how much more you're growing, and you're still back with wrestling. Like obviously that's the first love that you've had. That's what brought you into this, and you were literally showing, hey, this is where I came from and stuff like that. And it's just really cool to see how more is building you up. Like how much more confident are you now going to these shows often now than what you were when you first started?
Um, I'm pretty confident. I have the experience now. I know little tricks where I don't have to worry about things. It's hard to put in words. I just feel like, okay, I can. The first few shows I did was like, oh my God, I'm gonna screw up too. Now it's like going, it's like, man, I got this. I'm gonna make these wrestlers sound like $1,000,000. I'm gonna entertain this crowd in the way that I do. Yeah, I mean, there is a bit of confidence that I've been able to obtain. I really try to, keep myself humble to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Not, just so I don't come across as, my head getting too big. But I feel a lot more confident than I did. Every time a promoter has said, "Okay, kid, we're going to use you," that's just kind of been another little confident, made me believe in myself more and more. But it all started with
Mm-hmm.
CCW, them giving me my first chance, and the CWF kind of giving me my other chance in this business. So just
Mm-hmm. You were with
anytime a
them when they
promoter,
first started, right?
I mean, I've been with I've been with the CWF. I was in their second event. I've missed a few shows due to either scheduling conflicts or because I was in the hospital. But for the most part, I've been with them since the beginning, and I don't plan on leaving
Mm-hmm.
them anytime soon. It's special to kind of be with a promotion from the ground up, which is something that very few people
Mm-hmm.
can say that they've done. So that's like what's been really special about working CWF and CCW. I've just been with them since they were at this level, and now they're getting to this level. They've got a lot of things in the work for 2022. I can't really discuss all of them at this point in time, just because there's a lot of pokers in the fire, but nothing's confirmed yet. But both companies have been very good to me. A lot of companies have been good to me. Go Wrestle out in Daytona Beach, Knockout Wrestling in Ocala. Every wrestling company that's used me, I owe a debt of gratitude for helping shape the performer that I am today.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's just really cool to just see you're not only enjoying yourself, but you're expanding out. You're doing what you need to do to get yourself because you want this to be your main job. You want to make sure that in the end game is, hey, I want to get paid big doing this. Like I want this to be my life. Obviously, not having to do your shoot job 24/7. Like you want this to be your main goal, your main job. And obviously, man, just to see the work that you're putting in, I have no doubt that you will be doing it someday. I remember when I first did this chat with you, I told you I see you doing the commentating for NWA. They're actually going to be in Jacksonville January 8th. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. That's a big deal. NWA hasn't been in Jacksonville in like 30 years. So, that's going to be real cool to see. And like I still say it, I think I'll see you commentating at NWA or something like that. Like you're going to be one of those longevity announcers. And it's just really cool to see what you have done with the short amount of time that you've already had. Like, I mean, that's how like I saw with me in wrestling. Like, I only wrestled for like 6 years, but I put a lot into it. Like I did everything I thought I could do in what I could do in there. Obviously, do I wish I could do it longer and stuff like that? You bet your butt. But injuries hurt, and sometimes you stop moving, you stop doing the machine basically, to like where it's just like, that's gonna hurt when I think about it again. Like I give the analogy, hey, it's like a car accident. Like literally, when you take those first couple of bumps, like obviously it's easier, but when it gets done with that end of that training session, you feel every bit of it.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of that, Donnie, how's your health doing, man?
My health is doing great. I mean, a lot of people that close to me know, or anybody that I've spoke with. It's nothing that I put on social media, but I've had my health
Mm-hmm.
struggles. 2 time, I'm a cancer survivor, 2 kidney transplants. I had 3, 4, 5 major surgeries this year due to my car crash. But as far as my health goes,
Yeah.
I'm doing great, man. I'm still working my 9 to 5 job, or some cases it's 4 to 1. I'm a baker at Publix, and although one little correction, man, is I love my job as a baker at Publix. Even if I do make it big as an announcer, I probably would still want to go work
Mm-hmm.
at least one day there. I love making bread, and you put all that work into it. You put it out on the shelf, and you see someone buy it, and they're all excited, and they can't wait to get it home. That's a special feeling. I really do like my 9 to 5 job. It's allowed me to pursue this dream of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I didn't make money at my day job, I wouldn't have the money to pursue this. Because I have a saying: chasing the dream don't pay the bills. And
You ain't
with
lying.
yeah, thanks to Publix,
You're not
I
lying.
can pay those bills.
That is
But
definitely a fact.
yeah, I tried out there. But as far as my health goes, my health is fine. I'm doing real good. Take my medications when I'm supposed to. I have a very good support system with my family. God bless my mother and all that she's done for me, getting my health. I mean, the kidney that I have now, she gave me.
Mm.
God bless my dad and my stepfather, who have also helped me out in many ways, and as well as the rest of my family. You know, they've been everything. I mean, I'm not saying anything a
Mm-hmm.
lot of other people with good families doesn't already know, but just God bless all of them for helping me be
Yeah.
healthy now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge thing. And that's even amazing to know your mom basically gave you life again. Like, I mean, you can't really live without a kidney and stuff like that. And for her to give you something like that, that's crazy. Like, that's awesome. Because
Yeah,
honestly, that
I
just
mean,
shows how much
without her, I
you
couldn't
being
live this.
appreciated to what you have.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know if I don't know if people would understand what I'm saying, but it's when I take, when the show's over and I take off my shirts and all that, and I'm getting changed, I can look in the mirror and I see all the scars on my body from all the operations that I've had. I mean, my stomach's stretched so tight now, you could probably bounce a quarter off of it. I've been through a lot, and it really just makes me appreciate what I'm able to do, because I can remember so many times where I was laid in a hospital, IVs hooked up, uh, you know, um, tubes shoved up my nose, and just it really makes me appreciate my health. And those scars always remind me to never take for granted the blessing that I have
Hmm.
in my health and being able to pursue this passion of mine. So they are in a way their own blessing. And I pray no one else ever has to go through
Yeah.
what I went through, but I am thankful for them, for the scars in that regard, and that they keep me grounded, and they remind me to never take anything for granted, because just being able to sit here in my room and talk to you about wrestling, that's something that I couldn't do a few years ago. I couldn't do earlier this year, when I was in the
Hmm.
hospital. So I mean, I'm kind of going on here, but it's like, man, people, whoever's listening to this, just
Nah, you're good, man.
appreciate your health. We take it for granted, but just enjoy it, man. Because it can be taken from you like that. You know, God willing, I won't ever have to go down
I
a
agree
road
with
like
you on
that
that
again.
totally. I agree with you on that, man. And like how you said, like with the commentating stuff, like, man, I never in my life thought I could ever actually do a podcast, and not only do a podcast, make a successful one at that, because this has definitely been a huge obstacle that I'm enjoying. And also it's just like it's challenged me more and more, because obviously when we first did this, I did only recording and it was only audio only, because I didn't like looking at a camera. I didn't like seeing all this, because I wanted everybody to kind of like see, because I was a mask character, not have to see my face in ways, because it's like, hey, but possibly not want to reveal myself in ways. But now it's just like, you know what? The way to adapt to podcasting, now that we have been doing really well, we got to make videos. You gotta get the video footage out now, and I've been having a great time doing it and enjoying everything I'm doing. And one thing I love about podcasting is I get to live in other people's shoes, and like how this is a great episode. I'm a former pro wrestler and you're an announcer, so we're giving two different aspects into a sport that we both love. We all both have passion for. And it's just so cool to actually see the perspective from what your job is compared to what I was used to. And it's just really, really freaking sweet, because I could just tell, man, you've came a long way. You've paid your dues. You've literally have. And that's more said than done to some of the people that I've seen stuff in the past. Is just you've really paid your dues. You really have came a long way to actually where not only CCW puts almost full trust in you to making their product, that you're getting more chances to go with the Jacksonville Giants. Your college, like that's your alumni, and you're getting to announce there. And then you're getting to do MMA events. Like, good lord, dude, you're all over the place. Like, that's just really freaking sweet to see all the cool achievements that you have encountered and you've gotten to have. Like, it's just a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I've, in some ways, it's kind of, I guess, I've taken it for, you take it for granted in a little bit, but I mean, what I've done is nothing special. I mean, we live in this wonderful age where, thanks to the internet, thanks to smartphones, you have resources available to you, or at least access to those resources. Anybody that, has a passion for the business could do what I do. Go to a wrestling school, say, hey, I want to be an announcer. Hey, I want to be a commentator. Save up your money, pay your tuition, and learn. And in a few years, you can get to my level. Heck, you might even get further than me. Anybody, it's just a matter of finding the time and applying that time. I've been very lucky that I've had the time. But or if there's a young guy sitting out, or a young girl that's sitting out there right now and wants to be a wrestler like you were, I mean, train your body, save up your tuition, go to a school, pay your tuition, and you can do what or they can do what you've done. I mean, anybody can in this day and age, with all the technology and all the information that we have available. Stuff that, if me and you had been born in the 60s or the 70s, we would have been fans, and that probably would have been it. Like, we never would have gotten across the barricade or behind the curtain, just with how the world was at
I'd
that
have got
time. But now,
got the tar beaten out of me, because I heard a lot of small wrestlers didn't do well back in the day.
Well, it was a different world. When it comes to wrestling, I always think back to the Nutty Professor. Yeah, I know I'm stretching here, but I'll tie it together in a second. And the Nutty Professor in the first dinner scene, Father, Cletus Clump, the dad, is talking about big, small, medium. You need all that. And you need that in wrestling. You need, the big jacked up dude, muscles glistening. I'm going to beat you up. You need the beer brawler that's guzzling beer and he's got his big belly poked out like that. You need the shorter guy in the mask with the colorful costume bouncing off the ropes. You need all of that. You can't have just one type of thing, or your business probably isn't going to do well in this day and age. And that's what I love about
That's one thing.
You need variety at the bakery. If we sold one type of bread, you think people would keep buying? No, we have a whole variety of breads and sweets and goodies and cakes and all that we sell. And that, that at least that part can be applied to wrestling as well. And that's what I love. That's what I love about it. You just have so many different types and personas.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And it makes it fresh. Like how you just said, it makes it fresh. It makes it something new every time. So say like with y'all getting to collect the Donnie title, that brings out more energy to the guys in the back because now it's, hey, this is a newer title. I can get a good payday and a belt. Like this is two incentives like in wrestling. Like honestly, there's two things you always want in wrestling. You want to get paid and you want to be a champ. Like those are the two main things that you in the mindsets. Obviously, it's you want to be a champion, and then obviously the pay. I mean, we're gonna be real. Nobody's wanting to do this for free. Period.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
we all make the metaphors. We make the metaphors. Hey, we'll do this for free. I said it for my first year, and I absolutely regretted it. So literally, you don't do this for free.
Yeah. No, I don't do this for free. I mean, my voice, my voice, I don't charge I don't charge a king's ransom for my voice, but I am going to be compensated for it to some level. You can't do it for free. Gas alone, oh my God, what is it right now? Over $3. It's like I got to cover my gas at least.
I can imagine if I was still wrestling right now, how much that just the gas alone right now for like say like because I used to drive all out in Georgia area. I'm like, oh my gosh. Even with my car, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, good Lord, that's almost half the pay rate right there. Like, what the heck? Like, I'm gonna have to ask for more just because of gas. Like it's just crazy now. It's oh my gosh.
Well, shoot, I've already I bought my new car, because I had my crash and I lost my pickup truck. May it rest in peace. I love that pickup truck. But my new car, all the traveling I've done, I'm already on my third oil change or fixing to be on my third oil change, and I've cut back. I have really cut back from what I used to do because doing as much traveling as I did. That's why I got tired, fell asleep behind the wheel, and hit a tree. But yeah, you really don't really think about how many miles you rack up when you get started in this business, but that's what you got to do. If I was going to give any advice to anybody that's going to be in this business, you can't stay in just one place past a certain point. Now, I love CCW and I will continue to work with them for as long as they'll let me, but I'm going to work for other promotions when I'm not working CCW. I'm going to work CWF. If I can, I'm going to work Knockout Wrestling, Go Wrestling, or Spinebuster Championship Wrestling up in Valdosta. I'm going to work.
Are they coming back?
Hopefully.
Are they back up and running?
Hopefully sometime next year. I can't say anything for certain, but they are coming back next year. 2021, was kind of, there was still some things that they were reeling from the COVID thing, so they weren't able to get back up to where they were. But I owe big debt to Spinebuster. They really kind of helped break me into Georgia, and I was able to meet so many people and a lot of guys from
shout out to Preston and Johnny Maverick, because those two guys are amazing. Like those guys, I give a lot to them too, man, because they helped me expand out in Georgia and stuff like that. And they would come to our shows, and like sometimes we'd act like we know more, but man, when you listen to some of those stories with Preston and Maverick, like it was just really freaking awesome. It makes you really appreciate being a pro wrestler. So it's really cool to see them up and running again, because Spinebuster was running hot, and I mean hot.
Yes.
Like, a lot of people don't run. They don't run in Valdosta. So when they were running shows, and it was on a Wednesday, and I even asked Preston when they first thought about it, I was like, hey, why are y'all running on a Wednesday, especially on church day? Like, why? He was like, man, that's the best time. Fans are going to come out. Kids are going to be able to come out and just enjoy it. And they would show me like visuals of how many people are getting in the shows. And I'm like, wow, on a Wednesday night, man, they were running so well. They have three main guys I like to announce real quick. Shout out, Hold My Beer Hansen,
Yep.
my boy Southern Strong Style, Proc the Croc Johnson, and J2 Strong. Um, Hopefully Hunter Mako's still going out because that man was a man. That dude, oh my gosh, love watching his matches so much, and I just love that those three are so all over the place now, and it's crazy to see because thanks to COVID, those three have gotten to expand out because they were just Spinebuster's own, and I mean it's just really cool to see what everybody is doing nowadays. Like my boy Darian Drummond, Solo Jones, even Landon Cruz, Cecil Andrews, like Daniel Anderson, all these guys that I've grown up with, Johnny Romano, Logan Stevens, still going out doing well. Shout out to Tyson Maddox. Like these guys are really growing. They are really expanding their characters out. I mean, the three guys we mentioned about Swinebuster, they were on AEW. Like,
Yes, they were.
isn't that crazy? Like, and you wouldn't have got this based off of COVID. Like, they got to be an extra and help out. Gosh, I can't remember his name. He just had a really Lance Archer.
Yeah, Lance Archer and Jake the Snake, who was managing him at the time.
Yeah, I got all three of their perspectives on that story. Oh my gosh, if you haven't listened to that story, those three are the biggest trip. I still got to get them on, just all four of us on, and oh my gosh, that was just a clown fest, just individually with them. So, and it was just crazy. Like they gave me all three different perspectives of that story, how that built up and stuff. And if you haven't checked those out, man, oh my gosh, those three are a trip. So insanely a trip.
I've had the privilege of riding with them. We did a seminar this year with Mikey Whipwreck and Jerry Lynn, and riding with them. They're great. It's just just good old Georgia boys, and each and every one of them's great. I'm proud to say I've worked with them, and I hope to work with them again, if not in Spinebuster somewhere. But we got to meet Mikey Whipwreck, who I was a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Jerry Lynn. Meeting them and hearing them give feedback to the wrestlers about how they could improve and all that. If you never go to any other seminar, Jerry Lynn and Mikey Whipwreck, you get your money's worth. I can't say nothing but good things about both of them and the feedback they were able to give the wrestlers. Me, I was mainly there to just introduce the wrestlers and give them a really good introduction, but I can't say good enough about those two legends. They've made it in this business and they were giving back to the next generation. But as far as I know, Spinebuster will be starting back up in 2022 at some point, and I will be right there with them. They are another promotion that's near and dear to my heart. So hopefully sometime in 2022 they will be back, and you'll be able to see those guys going at it again in the Spinebuster ring for their championships.
I remember they've messaged me a couple of times like, hey, you ever think about coming back? So obviously we all get that answer all the time, and Lord only knows if I'll ever just fully say no. So we'll see. It's just based off of how long it takes to bump. And good thing that crowd's back, because obviously that no fans in the crowd thing, oh my gosh, I don't know how people did it. I really don't. Oh my gosh.
We did CCW did a few shows. If you look at our back catalog on YouTube, we did a few shows with no fans. And they were good shows. We produced them as best we could. But, you're missing that last element. You're missing the oohs and the ahs, the boos, and, the crowd.
That's the adrenaline.
Yes.
That's the adrenaline. And, like, one thing I describe when it comes to a wrestling show, the curtain. When you come out the curtain. No fans in the stand, that entrance is a lot different. Like, I've seen it. I've wrestled in front of it. I think the least we were in Abbeville, Georgia. I think it was like 3 or 4 people in the stands. So obviously, it's just a lot different. But it was a fan aspect. But imagine it with none. Oh man. Oh gosh. Major props to everybody that did it. I I couldn't. Oh my gosh, that's like a training session just wearing your gear. But what else were you gonna do? Were you just gonna stop wrestling for a year, or you just gonna just change the narrative and do what you needed to do?
I
I
wasn't gonna stop
remember,
announcing. As soon as there was a show to do, I
yeah.
was gonna announce it. And, especially during the heights of COVID, you needed that. You needed something that got you out the house, even if it was.
Hmm.
Although when I think about it, uh, pro wrestling might have been the worst thing for someone like me to go to because as a cancer survivor and transplants, I'm immunosuppressant. I do not have a good immune system, and I'm going into a locker room with a bunch of wrestlers. But it helped. It helped me keep my sanity because the walls were closing in.
Hmm.
I can only watch Netflix on my phone so many times, read so many books. I mean, the bookcase behind me, I
Yeah.
read every
Oh
single one
my
of those during
gosh.
COVID. Um, you got to get out of the house. But now that it, but now thanks that things are subsiding, like you said, things are growing. I think we have a lot to look forward to in 2022 on the indie level with all the promotions and what they have going on, and on the big level. I mean, anybody that's watching AEW, it's like wow, my my love is back. It had kind of been
Hmm.
NXT had kind of rekindled that fire, and now NXT is what it is. It's not the NXT I fell in love with. I'm not trying to badmouth it, but as wrestling fans, we like change and we don't like change, and it's a little different. Although Braun Breaker's pretty cool, but we have so many new things coming out in 2022. I can't wait. I'm sitting. It's like 30. Still have 30 days to go. Just sitting here talking with you has got me all excited about. Excuse me, what the new year is going to bring.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. It's just good to see everything's growing. Like, I remember when this was first going on with COVID, everybody was nervous, like, we're really locking down. Like, I remember the biggest thing that changed for me when it came to lockdown is they were shutting gyms down. I'm like, why? Like, out of all things, gyms. Like, no, don't do that. Like, I'm still paying for this every year. Like, what? Why? Like, that was the mindset I got realization. Like, okay, now I got to change things up because I was used to just going to the gym. Now I got to do this stuff at my house. And workouts were a lot different at home than what you could do at the gym. And it's just like these different narratives that makes you appreciate what you got now. And I can definitely tell there's so much coming up in the future with you. Donnie, I want to finish up on what are all the future things that you got going on when you talk about CCW, CWF, your MMA, basketball, all that longevity stuff that you got going on. So talk about it and stuff. And do you want to do some plugs?
Yeah, sure. And you asked what I got future. CCW. We're having our first show of the new year, January 22nd. Stampede, the 31st Stampede, a 20 man over the top rope battle royal where the winner will face the champion later in the event. The Coastal Wrestling Federation. Look them up on Facebook. They have their next show January 14th, I believe. I'm not going to be at that show just because I have a Giants game that day, but they have a calendar full of events. Spinebuster will be back. Be sure to check out Knockout Wrestling too, another company I've worked for. They got a lot of things in the works for the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And, me personally, I'm just looking forward to more announcing, doing MMA, and my next goal, I guess, would be maybe doing some voiceover in the new year. I've invested in some
Oh,
equipment, and that would be my hope. We may maybe hear my voice in some 15-second YouTube video if the opportunity presents itself.
well, you'll be on YouTube for sure today, though.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, can't wait
voiceover,
to
but
see
you got
that.
a full on there for you there. Do you got any last things you want to plug in? You want to do any shout outs? Anything like
Yes,
that?
Yeah, a shout out to all the guys at CCW, CWF Spinebuster. And if she ever hears this, a shout out to my mom, Karen Waldrop, because without her, I wouldn't be sitting here today. To my father, Mike Harris, to my stepfather, Donnie Waldrop, whose name I use when I'm ring announcing because he's had a big influence on me as far as how to talk to crowds are. And just a shout out to my people up in Publix, both Lake City and Live Oak, worked at both places, and then putting up with me when I'm talking about wrestling and politely listening when they probably wanted to do something else. And man, thanks for having me on this podcast, man. It's always nice to come and just talk wrestling with someone.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I wish I could have had more matches that you got to announce. And obviously, my farewell is you witnessing me getting pile drive 7 times. And that being basically, oh, AP's out the door type scenario. So, I mean, it's just good to see how much you've kept on going there. Because, I mean, it's a struggle at times, but just seeing that you could keep doing it, you got to have a tough skin to be in this business. And obviously, you have definitely gotten it. You've conquered cancer. You've conquered this car accident. I mean, there's so many different things that you have had trials and tribulations, literally, and you're still going. You're still going. That's the main thing, and that's one thing I hope everybody gets out of this episode is just how heart driven Donnie is, how heart driven he is to keep continuing this stuff. Like it's just a beautiful thing, man. And I've told you numerous times you are more than welcome to come on anytime you want. Um, yeah, man, it's just really good to see how everything is. Shout out to all of independent wrestling, the companies that I've been in, guys I've worked with, and stuff like that. It's too many to name. I'll name like 2 or 3, and then I'll get text messages. Hey, why didn't I get the shout out? So I've already said all my shout outs as much as I can. But Donnie, I appreciate you doing this, man. Y'all check out CCW. They do have their upcoming Stampede coming up. 31st. I've been in, I think 3 or 4 of them, and they're a beautiful thing. They're a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch. These guys literally put a lot of work. Uh, great time. You also, I mean, I've never seen nobody go to a wrestling show and not have a good time. So you definitely going to get some laughs. Like it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to get some entertaining aspect to it. CWF Stampede. I'm in a Spine Buster coming back. That's a big deal, especially for Valdosta. They really need that wrestling back. So it's awesome to see that. And if you're a Jacksonville Giants fan, check out Donnie on the mic doing some commentary for the Jacksonville Giants, man. This is awesome. Also, his alumni, his college, check him out there. There's so many ways to witness the one and only Donnie Harris. But Donnie, I appreciate you doing this, man, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too, man.
Thank you.